So you're thinking about moving to Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, and you want to know the yin and the yang and the good and the bad, the pros and the cons of living in this charming up north town. Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video today, because we get questions all the time about Pequot Lakes. People often compare it to places like Nisswa, Breezy Point, Baxter, wondering if it's the right fit for them, for their lifestyle, their budget. So I thought we would go ahead and jump into the Magic School Bus, dive into the Google Maps tour, show you around a little bit, highlight some of the best features, and talk about what makes this town one of the best places to live, not just in the Brainerd Lakes area, but in all of Minnesota. Make sure we sprinkle in a few of the downsides to give you that full picture, but we're going to go ahead and get after it right now. All right, if this is your first time on this channel and you want to know everything about living in the Brainerd Lakes area, including towns like Pequot Lakes, the surrounding towns, subscribe below, tap that bell for notifications. That way you'll be the first to know about what is happening in the current market and everything happening in the area. My name is Noah Gedker with eXp Realty. You get calls, texts, emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move to the area, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, reach out, give us a call. We'd absolutely love to help you make a smooth move to Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. All right, so Pequot Lakes is a small but growing town in the Brainerd Lakes area, known for its tight-knit community, excellent schools, and prime location near some of the best lakes and trails in Minnesota. It's located just north of Nisswa and Breezy Point, making it an ideal middle ground for those who want to be close to all the action, but still have that quieter, small town feel. So growing town is probably close to about 2,500 people or so, residents. You know, the seasonal residents obviously expands quite a bit beyond that, but generally you're going to get that small town feel. A couple of weekends you might have some traffic, but otherwise you do get a really good mix of that middle ground. So whether you're looking for a family-friendly neighborhood, a cozy cabin in the woods, or a lake home with stunning views, Pequot Lakes has a little bit of everything. Quick look here. If you haven't seen any of our previous videos, I just want to show you quick where we're at proximally to the Minneapolis, to an international airport, right? Basically, this is the route you're going to take here, all the way to the south side of the Twin Cities Metro. It's about 2.5 hours or so to the airport. Otherwise, you could take just go right into Brainerd, take one of the daily flights through Delta for a 15-minute connect to the Minneapolis airport to connect to any of your flights. So that's a great option because you can just park right outside the front door of the Brainerd airport. About 2.5 hours from Fargo, roughly 2.5 hours or so from Duluth. Brainerd is basically the center of Minnesota, and Pequot Lakes is just north of Brainerd. So that's where we're at. Let's start with downtown Pequot Lakes. So downtown, of course, is the heart of Pequot Lakes. It's going to showcase the famous Bobber Water Tower right in the center. You can't talk about Pequot Lakes without mentioning that iconic water tower. It's a symbol of the town's love for fishing, lakes, outdoors. If you're new to the area, obviously snapping a photo with that bobber is pretty much a rite of passage. Right there also is Bobber Little Park, Bobber Park. So you got Babe, the Blue Ox, the Bobber Water Tower, and then you got Paul Bunyan's chair, which for Paul Bunyan it's a good size. So right downtown you've got the city park here, which has the Paul Bunyan Trail running right through it. A lot going on. I mean, this is the heart of Pequot Lakes. It's small, but packed with a bunch of charm. You've got Lakes Latte or Minnesota Traders you've got to grab that coffee. And then there's a bunch of cool gift shops and little boutique shops downtown Pequot Lakes, similar to what if you have seen our video on like Nisswa, there's going to be similar types of shops there as well. So of course nobody competes with Nisswa when it comes to boutique downtown shopping, but Pequot Lakes would be a similar type of vibe to it. So we've got plenty of great restaurants. Obviously, Keys Tavern is is my favorite right downtown there. Pequot Lakes has a ton of annual events. All of the festivities that go around the 4th of July weekend or 4th of July time frame. Definitely, if you're in the area, you can't miss that. Of course, you have beanhole days where locals literally cook the beans in the ground. Okay, it's quirky, it's weird, it's fun, but it's a huge part of what makes Pequot Lake special. Beanhole days, not the quirkiness. Or maybe we'll let you decide. While downtown Pequot is adorable and growing, it's not exactly a major shopping hub. If you need big box stores or wider selection of restaurants, probably find yourself heading down to Brainerd or Baxter, just a little ways. But you also have some restaurant options in Nisswa and Breezy Point. So there's just a lot of options, but shopping, that big, Target, Walmart, Costco, all that kind of stuff, that's going to be down in Baxter. Okay. All right, let's talk about where people actually live in Pequot Lakes. Lake homes are generally going to be on Sibley Lake or Mayo Lake. So yeah, Sibley Lake, Mayo Lake, and then East and West Twin Lake. Those are going to be the common ones. So that's where the lake homes are generally going to be. There's little ponds and stuff like that, but if you're from Minnesota, those don't count. Lake homes, if you're looking for waterfront those 4 lakes really are going to be the main ones. There's some beautiful lake homes. You're going to see some more of the older style Minnesota cabins, that kind of traditional Minnesota up north look to them. And they're going to be much more affordable than properties on, say, Gull Lake or on the Whitefish chain or some of the bigger, more premier lakes in the Brainerd Lakes area. But they still have that classic Minnesota lake life to them. So you can find quite a few homes on Sibley Lake, even around $300,000. Zoom in, you can see there's not a lot. I mean, it's not jam-packed. Some of these, you go to some communities where they have a lake, where the community is based around the lake, and you get, 50-foot lots, and they're just jam-packed. There's not a lot left. But Sibley Lake is not real busy. It's a great option. Part of it is that the price is that a lot of the lots are going to have a pretty steep incline. So you'll have stairs or maybe a lift, or it might be a little challenging to get to the actual lake. Now, kind of the top end for a lake home on Sibley is going to be $800,000, somewhere in there. I mean, if you have $600,000, $700,000 to spend, you can actually get a really nice lake home on Sibley, or anywhere within Pequot Lakes, actually. The other types of homes, like where people live, right? So the non-lakeshore homes, those, if you like privacy, a little more nature, some of those are going to be kind of on the outskirts, if you will, just a little bit, to the west of Sibley. They're going to be, over in these areas here, over here. So if you love privacy, nature, there's going to be plenty of homes that are tucked into the woods to give you that privacy. Homes like that in those areas are generally going to be, again, can you find something around $300,000? Yes. You're probably going to start going up a little bit in price. $400,000, $500,000. They're generally going to be larger houses with more storage, more garages, that kind of thing. Now, if you're looking for something in like the 250, 300 range, that's definitely doable. And you're probably going to be right in town. Like, you want something a little more family friendly. You're busy, you got a lot going on, you don't have a lot of time to upkeep your property, like the land and all that kind of stuff. We're generally going to be in town, in this area here. Okay, somewhat kind of around the high school here. That's kind of what it's all circles around. Okay, some newer developments a little bit outside of more urban type part of the city. So there's some new construction development options there, but a lot of homes in this circled area. There are quite a few homes in the 250, 300 range. Some are more than that, of course, but Pequot Lakes and like Crosby, those would be the main towns within the Brainerd Lakes area that are going to provide the more affordable home prices. Depends on what you like, right? Because they're more affordable for some reasons. They might not always be as updated, that kind of thing. So inventory, of course, in Pequot Lakes can be pretty tight, especially for these affordable homes. So if you see something you like, you got to move quick, right? So you got to have a realtor like me that'll help you do that. All right, if you love the outdoors, the Pequot Lakes is definitely a paradise for you, right? For nature lovers, the Publican Trail, and I mentioned this in pretty much every video, so you probably get bored of it if you've watched any of my videos now up to this point. This is the longest paved continuous trail in the United States at about 120 miles, running right through, as you can see, right through Pequot Lakes. It starts in Brainerd, goes over towards Merrifield, up through Nisswa, and then into Pequot Lakes. It heads up towards Bemidji. It's perfect for biking, hiking, cross-country skiing. If you love snowmobiling, every season you can use those trails. That trail is pretty impressive. So, and then we have Sibley Park, really great spot. So this is great for picnics, fishing, kayaking. If you want to spend time on the water without the craziness of the bigger lakes like Gull Lake, this is a fantastic option. So it's on the east side of Sibley Lake, and you can see here it's just beautiful. Obviously a fishing pier, just beautiful towering pines, and yeah, there's a playground as well. So but there's this great trail here for hiking down to the water and just getting out onto Sibley Lake. A lot of fun. Town doesn't really slow down in the winter just because there's fewer people. The snowmobiling, the ice fishing, cross-country skiing are all popular. Great things to do here. The only downside, if you're not into winter activities, the colder months, they can get to be a bit long, but if you're willing to embrace that snowy season, Pequot Lakes has plenty to offer year-round. All right, I mentioned some restaurants earlier, but for a small town, Pequot Lakes has some really great food spots. A Pine Restaurant, which is actually just north of Pequot Lakes, just a couple of minutes here in Jenkins. It is your classic up north diner with huge portions and legendary breakfast options for you. So Norway Ridge, definitely a hidden gem here. Norway Ridge Supper Club, delicious, great place for steaks and that kind of cabin feel, if you will. It's really, because it's off the beaten path. You just don't know about it unless somebody tells you about it, or it's kind of hard to find online, which is a kind of a disservice. They're doing a disservice to themselves for not making a bigger presence online. Okay, Lucky's Tavern. It is right downtown, right across from City Park, basically between Lakes Latte and Minnesota Traders. So great place for burgers, cold drinks. It's really kind of the go-to spot in Pequot Lakes. So nothing fancy about it, but you can't go wrong, right? So if you want more variety of restaurants, there's a Dairy Queen in Pequot Lakes, so hey, there's your chain restaurant for you. But if you want more variety, you can go to Nisswa. There's some more restaurants, quite a few options there. If you're looking for more of like the kind of nationwide known restaurants, you're gonna have to go to Baxter for that. If you're looking for Chipotle, right? Your Starbucks, that kind of stuff, it's gonna be in Baxter. Okay. All right. So pros and cons of living in Pequot Lakes. First, I'll touch the pros, just kind of recap, and then the cons, I'll hit those last, just so you have a balanced view. Pequot Lakes is a tight-knit community, friendly neighbors, and definitely a charming downtown with plenty of activities to do. Lots of lakes, trails, parks that make it really an outdoor lover's dream. Comparing to Nisswa or Cross Lake, Pequot has a much more budget-friendly options in terms of housing. Now, to balance things out, no town is perfect, no community is perfect. There is, for major shopping, you'll be driving to Brainerd or Baxter. The town does get busier in peak season, especially with people heading to Breezy Point and Cross Lake. So they're kind of going through. The good news is there's that bypass, Highway 371, that kind of takes you outside of downtown Pequot Lakes, right? So that's a good thing as far as people who aren't actually going to Pequot Lakes you're not generally going to deal with the traffic that brings. It's a little drawback potentially for the local businesses, but it's gotta weigh the pros and cons of that too. Now, last thing I'll mention, I've already mentioned it, cold winters. If you're not into snowmobiling, skiing, any cold weather type activities, the winters can be long and tough. So that's something definitely to consider. But just remember that if you're frozen half the year, you might live longer. That's why Minnesotans live one of the longest out of all Americans, is that maybe it's because we're frozen half the year. I'm not sure. All right, so that is the yin and the yang, the pros and the cons of living in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. If you're looking for a small town charm, outdoor adventure, affordable homes, Pequot Lakes could be the perfect place for you. If you're thinking about making the move, reach out, shoot me a call, send me a text, drop me an email. I'd love to help you find your dream home. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications. Until next time, I'll see you around the Brainerd Lakes area.